Hello, and welcome to my channel, Stitching Hearts with Shantae. Today, I just want to walk you through a pretty quick tutorial on how to make a cute little key fob like this, a little luggage tag or key fob. I've made lots and lots and lots of these things over the years. I had an Etsy store at one time, and I would have companies send me their logo asking me to make this like for their employees for Christmas or for some special event. And this is a little maybe 2 by 3 inch. This is what we're going to do today. Something that'll fit in a tiny hoop, 4 by 4 hoop. But I've been asked to make larger ones over the years, like especially if it's going to have a logo or a profession and then a name on it, then it would be probably like 5 or 6 inches by 2 or 3 inches. So just a longer tag like that. So today we're going to do something simple like this. We're not going to digitize letters. We're going to go to our fonts and just find something simple to use. And let's get started. So first of all, let's go into Create. And so again, I have, or not again, but I have Stitch Artist 1, 2, and 3. And which is not necessary. You definitely don't need Stitch Artist 3. And I'm pretty sure you can do this just with Stitch Artist 1. And even with just having enthusiasts, it's a little different method though. And so today we're going to stick with Stitch Artist. So here we go. So I'm up here in Create. So first of all, let's get our hoop going. So I know that I already have, I'm using my scroll, the wheel in the middle of my mouse to zoom in and zoom out of my screen. So I'm going to go up here to this yellow envelope and I'm going to choose my hoop, which is already a 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter, push OK, and there it is. You always want to have your hoop on your screen, at least at the beginning when you're starting to digitize, just to remind yourself, just as a reference on how large you're making this design. And so there we go. So next I'm going to go right here to where I have a circle. I'm going to push the down arrow and choose rectangle. Where are you? You don't want to play today. Here we go. So there we go. There's my rectangle. It's coming up on the screen. So I pushed the left mouse button. I held it and drugged it. I dragged the shape to make the size. And so I'm going to move into this green square in the middle, and that allows me to move it around on the screen. I'm going to go back into Select or my pointer tool so that I can see the size of this. So it's saying it's 3 1/8 by 1 3/4 inches. I definitely know I want it to be 2 inches wide, so I'm just going to change that when I'm using my keypad to change that to 2 inches, and 3 9/16 works for me. So there you go. So that is going to be our placement stitch. So it's just going to show me, once it stitches out, where to place my material. We are going to use, or I'm going to use, waterproof canvas, which I find is one of the best things for me to use when I'm making luggage tags and key fobs. Just stitches really nice, it cuts really clean, and it's just nice to use. So I'm going to go over here. I left clicked on the word line to make it editable text, and I'm going to write placement in that box just so that we can keep up with what I'm doing. So there you have it. I'm going to center that. So right over here, I'm centering it in my hoop. Next, I am going to go in this free space. I'm going to right click, copy, right click, paste. So now I have 2. So the first one's going to be my placement. The second one's going to be my tack down. So I'm going to left click in that box to make it editable text. And I'm going to say tack down. So I'm going to tack down. I got to spell it right. Not really, but I should. I'm going to tack down my material. Next, I am going to go back to create mode, to where now it's a square because I did a square last. Let me talk about that square really quick too. So here it is. So I clicked on the square. I'm going to go into shape. So when you are in create, you will see this shape tab over here. And it has the corner radius. I have it at 15 just because I know that's where I like it to be. But look at what happens if you make it a -30. You have a ticket, right? Like an old-fashioned train ticket or a carnival ticket. If I have it a -13, you have the corners just dented in. If I make it a 37 or 27, it turns into more of a rounded, almost looks like maybe a dog tag. And so I just wanted to show you really quick what changing the radius of your corner can do. So I have it at 15%, and that's where we're going to leave it. So next, as I was saying, you go back into where I have this square, and I'm going to choose a circle this time. So I'm choosing the circle. I'm just going to put a really small circle right there. Go back to select the pointer, select all of my design, and I want to center, I want to align and distribute. So I want to align the circle with, I'm going to push center and apply, and it moved up just a little bit, and that's perfect. But now I'm just going to choose that circle, and I'm going to back it up a little bit just because I know from experience I don't need it to be too close to my edge. I'm going to put some hardware on there, maybe right about there. Next, I'm going to choose my lettering. So I'm going to go up here where it says the A, the letter A. Choose that. I'm going to pick that, and I'm going to write 2025. I use my keypad to do that, and enter. And now I'm going to go down and select a font. I already know what I'm going to select. I had to change computers recently, and I don't have all of my fonts in here. So we're going to keep this real simple though. So I'm going to choose this hobo font, and I'm going to make it just a tad bit smaller. I'm going to back it up a little bit, and I think that's just perfect right about there. Right? So there it is. If I chose a font that did not look like the fill was going to be very good, like that it was going, or the satin stitch, I could add a little compensation, or depending on the material that I'm putting it on. I know that using this waterproof canvas, stitch is fine. It doesn't really stretch too much. It does not have deep grooves. It's going to make spaces in my stitching. And so I know that this is going to be fine. I can look at it, especially in Brilliance. And so different software, your lifelike stitching screen or 3D stitching, it doesn't always show it the same. But I know that in Brilliance, when I'm looking at this, I see very few gaps. It looks real, and I'm zoomed in pretty far. It looks good. So I don't need to change anything. But if I did, I would go right over here to where it says stitch. And this compensation right here, comp, I could turn that up. I would only do it like 1 or 2, 3%. And that's going to make that even thicker. It's going to fill in. But I'm going to go right back down to 0. I don't need any. I can see that that's going to stitch really fine. So I'm using that scroll on my mouse again to bring that just to a better view. So here we go. Next, we're going to go back into create. I'm going to go up here to create, and I'm going to say design, begin a new design. I'm still going to go up to tack down. I clicked on tack down, so I highlighted it. I'm going to right click in this empty space. I'm going to copy, I'm going to paste, and I'm going to do it twice because I'm going to need it again. I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste, right? So here we go. So this one I'm going to call, I clicked on it, left click, and clicked it again to get a editable text, and I'm going to call it backing. I typed in on my keyboard backing, push enter. And then this one, I left clicked, did it twice, got editable text, and I'm going to call it my satin or my last stitch, my edging stitch. So there we go. So this is the whole design. Now I'm going to go back and assign some stitches to this, right? There are no stitches right here. This is just artwork or a line. So I'm going to go up to the top. Placement, I'm going to choose run, which is right here. And let's do some things with that. I'm going to go down to the bottom, choose run. It's a double stitch. That's just going to show me, that's going to stitch out the placement on my stabilizer. I don't need it to be a double stitch. So I made it a single. I'm even going to widen that a little bit. I don't need it to be so tight. Just a quick stitch on there, just showing me where to place my material. So it's my run. It's good to go. Next, for my tack down, I'm going to choose a run stitch again. I'm going to make it I'm going to go in there. It's a double, and I want it to be a double. Only thing I'm going to do with that is I'm going to change the color. There you go. And changing the color is a way to put stops in. So the software is so smart that it will assume that this is going to be all one thing, and it'll run through your design if I left these all the same color, by the time I moved it over to my machine, it would only show me one stitch because it's going to be so smart and put it all together for me. So I want to change the color, which I did. And then this line, which is the circle, let's make that the same, a double. And the color can be the same as the one before it. So let's go to color, click on color. In my color panel, it says threads, which that's a whole lesson in itself, choosing threads. Doesn't really matter to me. I never get too much into choosing colors and all of that stuff. Just because it's not my personality. But you really can go in and choose your brand of thread and the exact color that you want. Once you get over to your machine, your design is going to be whatever color threads you put up there. So I don't get too much into that. But if you choose palettes right here, it's going to show you the color palette that you're working with. So I see so far I have 3 different colors. So it makes it easy for me to choose the blue, the same blue as the one before, because I would like those 2 items to run together. So I'm going to push OK, and it's done. Next, I'm going to go down here to my backing. Same thing. I'm going to go to run stitch. I'm going to choose run. It's a double stitch, and that's fine. I do want it to be a double because I want to be able to cut around it, and sometimes a single stitch, and I just want it to be a sturdy stitch on there. So I'm going to leave it a double, but I am going to change the color. Everybody gets their own color. I'm going to go out of palettes because I don't want it to be the same color that I already have. I'm going to go to threads, and I'm just going to choose a purple, any color. I just chose one. And then last, my satin stitch. So even though it says satin, I wrote that, remember? And so it really is still just artwork. So you need to go over here to satin. If you see as I run across there, satin border. Going to choose that. I'm going to go over to satin border and give it some, I want it to be 4 millimeters. I am a satin girl. I like a nice thick border. I'm going to even put a top stitch. So that's here at the bottom. There are other ways you can top stitch your designs, like by putting a motif. We're not getting into that today. I'm just top stitching it. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to tie in and tie off on that. Let me double check all of mine. That run stitch, did I tie? Yep, those are all good. And so last, I'm going to change that color. Everybody gets their own color today. And I'm going to change it to a pretty pinky purple. There we go. And so that's the whole thing. That is the design. I am going to change it to, it's a 3D view. Let's go. So it did not really show us like the satin stitch and stuff because I was in the create mode. But then once I choose to go back into the select mode or into my pointer tool, it shows the whole thing. And so there you have it. This is my satin stitch with a top stitch on top of it, over it. Let's do a quick check of everything. So right up here is Stitch Simulator. It looks like a stitch thingy. I have it on fast. I'm going to slow it down a little bit so that you can see what's going on, and I'm going to push go. So what we're going to see is it's going to show me so everything changed. That's fine. To run. That's fine. Everything changed to run once I made it a run stitch. I looked over there and thought, where's my placement? Where's my tag down? And so I could go in, now that that's done, click on there, double click it again, make it editable, and change that to tag down. Not really necessary. I really just wanted to be able, for you guys to be able to keep up with which line was which stitch. And so it's fine. So first we'll see the run, then we'll see the tack down, and then we'll see the tack down or the placement. That's a placement stitch. Oh, I'm doing all kind of stuff here. So placement, let's just go ahead and do that. Tack down. That circle is just in there. Then this is the back. The back. That's it. No, here we go. So it's going to run through. Let's push go. And look how fast that is. So we're going to slow it down and do it again so I can talk about it a little bit. I'm just letting it run through. Okay, so let's slow that way down and push go again. What is it doing? It's gotten goofy on me. So I'm going to use the slider. So this is my placement stitch. Now this is, and so it's going to stitch this on top of my stabilizer. Then I'm going to move my hoop from my machine just a little bit and lay my fabric, and then let this tack down stitch go over it. It's going to do the tack down and the little circle. That's for me to punch a hole, just for reference, just so that I know where to punch the hole. Then once my material's on there, I said tack down. Then it's going to put my letters, stitch all my letters. And then once my letters are stitched, I'm going to move that out before I let the next stitch run and lay a piece of fabric on the back, tape it on there, and then I'm going to tack the back down. I'm going to let it stitch around the back. And then once that's done, I'm going to take it off of my machine and cut it very close around the front fabric, and then flip it over, cut very close around the back fabric, put it back under my machine, and then let it put a finishing stitch around it. So this is my satin stitch, and it is just a going, and there. And it also did a satin border with a top stitch. So there you have it. That is the whole design. I am going to choose File. I'm going to save as. I'm going to save that. I know that my machine is connected to my it's an E drive. I'm going to call it 2025 Fob, and I'm going to push save. So I will meet you over at my machine.